this is Tom with Fresh Vintage. Today with my good friend Tom Morosky. So he has two YouTube channels, Switch to Linux and Tux Traveler, and they're both actually done out of his van, which he lives in. This is a 2019 Ram ProMaster 2500. And Tom, if you want to show us around inside the van here.
Yeah, sure. So I bought this as an empty cargo van, and I did every bit of the build and modifications myself, starting right inside the front door. One of the things when you're driving around, you want to have dash cams, GPSs and things, and rather than taking up all the ports, I actually attached this guy right here. So this is just a nice little port, fused it right on into the fuse box here, hit this toggle switch on, it drives power to two USB ports, so that runs my dash cam and my GPS while keeping all my regular onboard dash components there. The other thing is right up inside here, you will have a hard time seeing it, but there is another toggle switch right behind my head up there at the very top. That runs a DC to DC charger. So I have a 20 amp DC-DC charger. So when I'm running the van, the alternator will charge the house batteries. In addition to that, of course, we have 500 watts of solar power as well. So I don't often need to do that except in the depths of the winter time.
Yeah, it looks like your gas storage right here.
Yep.
There we go.
Gas right there, basic
convenient.
unleaded fuel, and the just the basic gasoline engines are just as efficient as the diesel ones, and the diesel ones generally have more problems, so I wouldn't bother with those.
Yeah, so take a look at this. So this is what, a 3.6 liter or something?
I believe that sounds right. Yep.
And it's front wheel drive.
Front wheel drive.
So it actually, this van is a really nice size when you look at it. I mean, you can see it, but when you look at it in person, it's actually a really good size van. And it looks like it's fairly easy to get to at least some of the basic maintenance items in here.
Yeah, I mean, the oil is actually, the oil filter's on the top, so you don't have to go underneath for the oil filter. It's right over here. Air filter's right inside of here, easy to get to. Windshield washer, oil, obviously brakes and coolant. There are a few things that are a little bit tighter as the engine is kind of crammed back a little bit more, but overall it is a pretty good engine, pretty easy to maintain. The other fun thing that these will have is because people realize that you might use this for modifications. We actually have, I don't remember exactly where they are, but right inside here is if you actually want to do a jump, you can just jump it right off of this positive terminal and something negative terminal off the battery. The battery is actually under the driver's seat.
Yes, okay.
All right, so this is one of the portable battery packs. They call them solar power generators. So they use on solar. This is your cheap Chinese knockoff one. Had this for like 6 years, never given me a problem. This guy here's got USB ports. That says 1 amp and 2.1 amp. Not true, they all push the same. These guys are your basic DC power ports. And then on the back we have a pure sine wave inverter, 300 watt inverter. The battery capacity here is actually 200 watt hours. So right now we're charging it on the solar panel. There's 59.1% left. And this solar panel in these conditions will probably charge it in a few hours. This is an 80 watt suitcase solar panel. So it'll just folds up from this direction, not small, and opens up. So 80 watt. Not too bad.
Yeah, and thankfully we have quite the sunny day today. So
the other thing we have going on over here is solar kettles. So these solar kettles will boil water in about 2 hours from low. Let me pop this guy open. I didn't give Tom proper directions when I just handed these to him. So they'll just kind of open up. The parabolic mirrors will reflect the light in. There's 2 evacuated glass filters in here. The inner one's dark, outer one's clear, giving us really good temperatures. So right now the water is at 60. And
actual.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And then it'll take just a couple hours and these guys will be effectively boiling. So this is when I'm in the desert, how I will make my coffee. I'll actually heat some water up, keep it in a thermos overnight, put the thermos water back in here, go for a walk in the morning for an hour, come back, I already have hot water for coffee.
That's fantastic.
So as we go into the back, I have this all built up, so we actually have This is actually there to keep my cat from coming down there. This is say hi to CJ. There are 2 cats in here. This one does not mind the camera. The other one does not like the camera or the doors being open. All right, so inside of here, I have a lot of storage. I built this platform so that I have easy access to extra things down here. We also have all solar cooking equipment over here. So we have a solar oven and stuff down here. We actually have a propane oven crammed down there if I need that. And we also have electric and gas cooking inside the van. Over here we have I think that's a 2, whatever the things are, I forget the exact numbers, but a diesel heater system in here. So we have this tank here, and then I carry just an extra 2 gallons of diesel fuel with me as well. In the coldest day ever, I've run this, which is about 20 degrees overnight, which curiously was down south, go figure. I only used about a 1/4 tank of diesel fuel. Typically, that fuel in your typical weather I will encounter, I can go a couple weeks on that tank. So with this means I've about 3 weeks without having to go back. We have dry food storage, cat food storage. I have a printer because I write books, and it's always better to print those. And of course I have books for conferences, tools, and extra winter stuff, and then a few other random odds and ends over here, and a portable solar panel back here. And of course there's the bed up there. Also, I have back here, which I can access from the front of the bed. I actually have a shelf, so I have a small area, I'd say a few cubic feet of extra storage I can get to on the front. Usually I just throw food items down there.
Okay. Take a look inside.
All right, so now we open up the door here, and I do have this nice baby gate from Target, which is the best thing I ever installed. I just put this thing on this summer, and it's awesome. And that's good because, of course, I have 2 cats in here, don't want them getting out. So from inside of there, if you want to step on in, we can continue the tour here. Here's the other cat. Yeah, she's like, let me go. All right, a little tight spaces here. Okay, so you gotta pull this down.
I'll stay out. I'll stay out here.
Here, let me get it. Just like
Oh, sorry. Yep.
It's a weird tricky thing.
No, you're good.
All right, so now we have inside. You can tell I run YouTube stuff and computer stuff. I have 2 monitors mounted to the walls. There's actually, I think I have 4 Raspberry Pis built into the walls for doing basic function. So this is a web design computer, this is a media server, and then inside of here, we actually have a few more Pis you won't be able to see with a camera. We have a custom built router, we have an IoT modem, I have a network switch because every computer in here is actually on an Ethernet network. I don't use wireless generally. Then we have some servers and some NAS drive servers in the back over there. All of this stuff is all custom wired. I have computers and individual components on all these switches over here, including several charging ports. So these are quick charge ports for phones. There's one there. There's another one down over here. And there's another one up here. And then, of course, I have mood lighting and basic LEDs also on switches. We do use, since we do YouTube channels, I do have studio lights. Those are exceptionally bright, 65K studio lights. I have 2 on the front, 2 on the bottom, and then I also have a ring light up here, which stays mounted up there until I need it. So that allows me to do all the computer work from a fixed desk over here, and I didn't bother with anything like folds up or out of the way because I work so much, it's always down. So it's very nice.
I think, Tom, one of the big questions is people, they want to know maybe how you live in here. Like, you talked earlier about a solar stove, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and so I saw you have your food in the back. I remember the last time I was in here, we actually kind of had like a little turkey dinner. Yep. And you had cooked mashed potatoes, and we had turkey, yep, and you had stuffing in here, and we did it all inside the van. Yep. So I think that's something that like someone who, yep, when they're thinking about van life. So
what I did is I have this now. Of course, I have 2 desks here. The one desk I built to be the height you want to work. This, I actually measured the height of a cabinet that you would have in a basic kitchen. and then I put this at that height, so I had kitchen space and sit down at the table space. So I kept it without any sinks or holes, so it's completely flexible, because I have over here is kitchen utilities. And one of the things I have down here is I have an induction oven. So if I'm in a place where I can plug into the wall power, or batteries are completely full and it's summer and it's sunny, the induction oven, I can cook on that just off of our batteries. But we also have down here, we have a gas stove, which I just keep inside of this, and then I just pull out my gas stove. So all of those will easily just set right up on this cabinet space, so I can do all my cooking and stuff there. This is a nice little fountain there, so I don't have a basic sink. I just keep water and do whatever. I have 10 gallons of onboard water right here in this tank. They're separated with 2 separate containers, so it's a lot easier to fill them back up when it comes time to do that. Of course, I have all my cooking spices right here, and I have extra things over here. Like there's cornmeal, there's oatmeal, this is actually tortilla mix. I pretty much make all my own food from scratch in here, so I don't like buying other stuff, and then baking powder and other random odds and ends. Popcorn, the essential everybody needs. So that is kind of there. As far as the power, I can't get to the battery right here because it's down behind all this kind of stuff. Maybe I can. I'll just move stuff out of the way. So down here is actually where I have, let me go, thank you. My battery is custom built, so I just bought 8 individual battery cells. Those are lithium, they're LiFePO batteries, lithium phosphate, phosphorus oxygen batteries. Lithium phosphate, there you go. Don't know why I can't figure that out. But I just built the battery, and then we have an inverter over here, 2,000 watt inverter, and it's a pure sine wave inverter, allowing me to run a full-size gaming computer right here, which is what I use for streaming. Of course, that's rednecked right on into there with boards and string. It is literally tied down like a redneck style. So if you think that you have to be super gentle with all your computers, not always the case. But I'm a computer geek, so I kind of know how to push them to their limits. We have a lot of just onboard charging stuff over here, including this port down here is this is a 19 watt up converter, and it allows me to charge all of my laptops off of these random laptop tips. So that is a port right over here. This is actually a standard size power plug, and then this is a kit which came with adapter ports. So this is a modern Dell. This is a Lenovo tip, and then this is an older style Dell and HP stuff. So I can charge almost any type of laptop off of this computer without actually having to plug into AC wall outlets. Of course, I do have AC plugs over here, and over here. If I need AC power, hit this button and it'll turn on, and this tells me that my batteries are completely full right now. So, the refrigerator right down here. So it's a standard 12 volt refrigerator.
Okay.
Can run off of AC or DC power. Of course, it's plugged into DC power.
And Tom, if there's one thing, what do you like most about living in the van here?
I like the fact I can travel around to basically see the whole country. I can drive anywhere I want to drive, and I can take my kitties with me, and I can just see all the things. So you'll see on the back here with all these magnets, these are all of the national parks I went to just this trip. And it was just as full when I came back last trip. So this year, just in the last 1 year since I left, I've been Carlsbad Caverns, Smoky Mountains, Guadalupe Mountains, Lassen National Park, Roosevelt National Park, the Coastal Redwoods, Acadia, Voyagers. That's Lake Erie. Ignore that. The ghost ship should become a ghost again. Indiana Dunes. we're just far from Erie. So, Indiana Dunes, Cascades, Hot Springs National Park, Knife River. That's a monument in North Dakota. Cuyahoga National Park, Mount Rainier, Olympic National Park, Big Bend, Glacier National Park. This is Mount St. Helens, Whiskey Town, and Crater Lake. Those are the places I've been just in the last, I'd say about last 8 months. Got a chance to see all those, and I just keep on going. Basically, I just find a place, I consult FCC maps online, I see where there's internet signal, I camp there for as long as I can camp there, get a bunch of work done, take a day off, hike the parks, see the scenery, enjoy the local scene, and then drive on down to the next place to go. There's 3 solar panels on the roof.
Okay.
There's 2 200 watts and 1 100 watt. Some people have said over the years, because of ignorance of solar, well, you can't mix panels. That's not true, but you do have to make sure your panels push the same power ratios. All my panels, my 200 watt panels and my 100 watt panel, push the same power ratio, actually giving me a total theoretical maximum of about 60 to 65 volts, and a maximum of about, 12, 24, about 28 to 30 amps of power, and I have actually observed the total peak theoreticals several times. We're running a 40 amp MPPT charge controller, which runs down through. I drilled some holes in the top, and I ran the wires down behind all this stuff up here, and then they just kind of run down, and there's the charge controllers back behind all this stuff. I have master battery kill switches down here, and solar panel switch right back over there. We also have this guy here as called a converter. This allows me to have shore power off of any standard 110 outlet. It draws about 35 amps, pushes 30 amps at 12 volt back into the battery, so I can charge the entire house batteries from 0 to completely full in a few hours. So I have a lot of different ways, and that also will work on any generator. So if I had any outdoor generator, I could actually plug that in. It draws 750 watts off the grid.
And Tom, to wrap things up here, I remember one of your live streams you recently talked about you couldn't get your dash cam to work, but you recorded running over a tarantula, and it was big enough to see from the driver's seat.
Yes.
Like where was that at? Is that New Mexico, I'm assuming?
That was Arizona. That was
Arizona?
Parker, Arizona. Yeah. I was actually camping out there, and I saw some dead tarantulas on the road. I'm like, I got to see a tarantula. And Christmas present from God, December 24th, it got up to like 75 degrees, and the tarantulas were actually walking around. So I actually ended up encountering 2 tarantulas outside that day.
Big enough to see from the driver's seat.
Yeah, it was like spider roadkill.
So you mentioned how you have a diesel heater.
Yep.
What do you do for summer for AC? How does that work?
No, generally I don't need AC. The hottest we've been is probably about 90, 95 degree, pretty high humidity. You find a shady place, I open the door like that, turn on the fan, and the inside of the van will become the same temperature of the outside in about 20 minutes. But since there's no sun under the shade of a tree, it's generally not bad. So I'd say one day out of the year it gets miserable, but most of the time you don't have a problem. The highest temperature I've ever seen in the van is about, I'd say 35 C. So we're getting pretty warm, but by no means nothing that is too hot.
Okay. And if you had to do this all over again, what would you do anything different, or?
Definitely a different floor. The floor, since I built it, is completely falling apart. This one right here is, in fact, completely broken off.
Oh, wow.
I do have more of this tile. I'm not sure how to get it in there, so I'm thinking about just buying a linoleum strip. Just doing a linoleum strip. But the floor definitely is horrible. Other than that, I mean, I spent a few years planning the build out, so other than a few minor modifications here and there, I really am very happy with how it turned out. There's a few things we're looking at, like maybe different cellular service. I finally found one company that says they can support my my modem that's not a big name carrier. That's a company out of I think they're out of Knoxville, actually. They're called Bix Wireless. They have 300 gigabyte plans from Verizon for, I think, $150 a month. Right now I'm paying Verizon $110 for $150. There's a lot.
That's quite the setup, and to think you travel the country in here. You know, you see the world, and you stream to the world.
Yep.
You know, folks, if you haven't checked out Switch to Linux or Tux Traveler, Switch to Linux is streamed inside here. He streamed from my yard last night,
Yep.
so it's done inside this van. So anytime you hop on Switch to Linux, you're going to see streaming from inside the van here. So
Yep. I would say I have streamed easily 200 shows from this van. I've been doing this. I've been in the van for, I think, 18 months in the van, completely full time, and I generally do 2 streams a week.
awesome. Thank you so much, Tom. Again, that's Switch to Linux and Tux Traveler. Check out either channel. Please subscribe, and thanks for watching.
All right, well, thank you very much. And don't forget, right behind you, the point of the journey is not to arrive.